jobs were you able to create when you were at Bain Capital?
Well, the number's over 100,000. My job creation record in the private sector has created more jobs than President Obama has created in the entire country. Tens of thousands of jobs created by virtue of the work that we were doing. Those businesses have now added over 100,000 jobs. I have a record of learning how to create jobs.
Mitt Romney has now spent years on the campaign trail running on his so-called job creation record. At last count, Romney says he helped create over 100,000 jobs, but another incredibly rich guy says the notion that rich people create jobs is completely false. That was considered so partisan by the TED conference that they refused to put this man's speech on their website, as they do most of their other speeches of their conferences. And under pressure today, the TED organization finally released that video. Here's Nick Hanauer, a venture capitalist who became the first non-family investor in Amazon.com.
I can say with confidence that rich people don't create jobs, nor do businesses large or small. Jobs are a consequence of a circle of life-like feedback loop between customers and businesses. And only consumers can set in motion this virtuous cycle of increasing demand and hiring. In this sense, an ordinary consumer is more of a job creator than a capitalist like me. That's why when business people take credit for creating jobs, it's a little bit like squirrels taking credit for creating evolution. It's actually the other way around.
Joining me now for an exclusive interview is Nick Hanauer, author of The Gardens of Democracy, A New American Story of Citizenship, the Economy, and the Role of Government. Nick, your message is a very simple one. It's taught somewhere around the first week or so of any kind of economics course, which is that consumer demand rules everything, and it's something that Henry Ford knew. He knew when he was making, when he was mass-producing cars, that the workers in his factory had to be able to afford to buy them to generate and keep that demand going.
Correct. Only consumer demand can animate hiring. Although it's not quite true that economics textbooks reflect that idea, because that idea is what's necessary in order to reach that conclusion is to understand that the economy is an ecosystem and is subject to the same kinds of feedback loops that natural ecosystems are. And once you understand that, then it becomes transparently obvious that this trickle-down orthodoxy is a complete and bogus lie. And that, you know, the true nature of job creation lies in animating consumer demand and the feedback loop that comes from it.
I want to show one more piece of your speech at your talk at TED for two reasons. One, because it's been suppressed, and so now that we have it, we're so excited. Yeah. And the other is it beautifully puts this this notion about consumer demand and how the rich absolutely cannot generate enough consumer demand. Let's listen to that.
Sure. There can never be enough super rich people to power a great economy. Somebody like me makes hundreds or thousands of times as much as the median American, but I don't buy hundreds or thousands of times as much stuff. My family owns 3 cars, not 3,000. I can't buy enough of anything to make for the fact that millions of unemployed and underemployed Americans can't buy any new cars, any clothes, or enjoy any meals out.
Nick, the point couldn't have been made more perfectly, I think. I've never heard it made so well. Look, you know, we've got 3 cars. That's it. I can't go out and buy 3,000.
Right. But think about what the economy would be like if the 280 million Americans who aren't in the top 1% had seen their wages rise as fast as mine have over the last 30 years. They could buy a lot more cars, and as a consequence, our economy would be growing far faster than it is.
And it seems that one of the points you make is that in order to keep these tax rates on the rich low and get these policies across, they have to come up with some sort of almost divine reason why this should be. Hence, this new notion of job creators and job creators residing among those people who simply are, in Wall Street anyway, just shuffling money all day. They're not running any factories anywhere.
It's true. When somebody like me, a capitalist, claims claims to be a job creator, it sounds like what we're doing is describing how the economy works, but what we're actually doing is something far more interesting. What we're doing is making a claim on status and privileges. Look, there's a small leap from job creator to the creator. If you're the creator, you're very much at the center of the economic universe and deserve status and privileges, which is how in a democracy you can come up with this astounding 233% differential between the tax rates I pay, 15% on capital gains, dividends, and carried interest, and the 35% top marginal rate on work that ordinary Americans pay. You can't get there any other way than essentially deifying capitalists. I'm not saying capitalists don't provide an important role in the economy. I think what I do is awesome and useful, but Americans need not deify what we do. You know, in an ecosystem, all parts of the ecosystem are equally important.
You make, quickly before you go, you make the point that that hiring a new employee is a last resort for someone running a business.
Absolutely. But capitalists like me, you know, for us, you know, when you're running a business, hiring more people is a course of last resort. It's what we do if and only if rising customer demand requires it. And more to the point, the measure of the quality of a business, how profitable is largely the difference between how few workers we hire per unit of sales versus our competitors, right? The fewer jobs I create per unit of sales, the more profitable my company becomes. And in that sense, calling ourselves job creators isn't just inaccurate, it's somewhat disingenuous.
Nick Hanauer, I think no one has explained this more clearly. Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Very happy to be here. Thank you.
You can see Nick's entire speech, and it's only 6 minutes long. You will learn more in that 6 minutes than any other 6 minutes you will spend. You can see it all online at our blog, thelastword.msnbc.com.